One. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a test of our upcoming Goer live series, where we're going to talk all things snowmobiling, from trail conditions to breaking news to racing action to events, you name it. We're snowmobilers, we're trail riders, we're folks like you, and we plan to talk about snowmobiling every Thursday night for roughly a half hour. As a part of this test today, I've roped in Brett Richter, who is a kind of an extreme oval racing insider who's going to be doing a lot of coverage again of oval racing this winter. And so again, as a part of our test, I'd like to bring him in, and he and I are going to chat about the sport that both he and I love. So here comes Brett. Welcome, Brett.
Hey, John, how are you? It's great to see you.
Very good. Now, for people who don't know your background, whether it's the TLR Cup, whether it's the stuff you used to do for USSA, kind of give them the Cliff Notes version of how you got involved in all this craziness.
Wow, how did I get involved? Well, it started with my dad probably in 1969, taking me to the Ironwood Snowmobile Olympus as a little kid.
Nice.
Got hooked on the sport. Never raced a machine, but loved the sport. So that led me into the world of volunteering. Helped at a number of different places, really got my feet involved in the Ironwood Snowmobile Olympus for a number of years, helping Tom Avinen when he was the promoter there. That led me on to Todd Ochterberg in the TLR Cup Tour Series, and then traveled pretty extensively with Todd in the tour when the TLR Cup was big. And the TLR Cup faded away, and then went into USSA and helped with the Pro Star Cup Tour for a couple of years, and now pretty much just out kind of on my own, doing my own thing, following the sport, watching, and helping to promote where I can.
Very good. Now, you have a thrilling upcoming trip to Manitoba, a nice short drive up to Beausejour, Manitoba. What is it about the races at Beausejour that make that place so special?
Yeah, that's really a trip. If you haven't been there and you're an ice oval racing fan, the trip up to Beausejour to get up to the Canadian Power Toboggan Championships is worth the time and the energy. The folks up there do a fantastic job. The track is always in great shape. It's big. It's not only long, but it's wide. It's got great racing surfaces to it. The paddock area is easily accessible, and the folks up there are just really great people up there. They've kind of roped me into helping out with their Cool Down TV production, which is a live stream service. It's free, so everybody can watch the entire race weekend on cooldown.tv. And we'll be doing some driver interviews that we're going to record ahead of time that we'll be dropping in during plow breaks to try and minimize that little bit of downtime that everybody loves so much.
Some of the going back to when you were doing the TLR Cup thing, and on forward to what you're doing now with Cool Down TV, some of the interviews that you give and some of the insight that you give into the race teams, to me, adds such great value, because if people kind of have a sense that they know the people that are on the track, they're just so much more invested. What about, what has caused you to do that? You don't have a background in broadcasting, you have a background in insurances, I believe, but what hooked you into that part of it?
I just found during my time with the TLR Cup Tour that the personalities in the racing world were so interesting and so inviting, but nobody knew those personalities. You only saw an orange helmet and a leather jacket and some gloves or something, and a wave with a checkered flag in the background, and you didn't know who they were. Yet I had access to them in the trailer and in meet and greet lines in preparation for stuff, and they're joking and they're funny and they've got great stories and great backgrounds, and I just thought, how do people learn this type of stuff? How do we share it with them? So with the help of good people like Brad Malmgren and Lindsay Fontaine back in the day, we developed things like the Going 90 segment, where we would ask them 90 seconds of rapid fire questions just to bring up their personality and their likes and their interests. And a lot of that stuff really seemed to catch up with them. This year up in Beausejour, we're going to do the FXR Fast 10, kind of something similar. Nice. There'll be 10 quick questions that we're going to drop on them. And, we'll find out if they like ranch or ketchup, or, boxers or briefs, or, who knows what's coming.
So for those who haven't seen it or who may be interested, we'll in the YouTube permanent video that we'll put up of this live show, we'll put some links to some of the interviews Brett has done in years past. And it really is, it gives you a sense of, I've seen Justin Peterson race for several years. I really didn't know anything about him. I thought I knew something about him, but I didn't until I saw your segment. So that it gave me so much more insight that is really good.
Right. And people don't know that Justin crafts his own exhaust pipes. That's one of the things that he does. He's a welder, and everybody's looking for for performance in the race world. And all of a sudden you come across a driver that said, yeah, I weld my own pipes. And you're like, wow, that's a specialty thing. And it's interesting. I'd never known that till we talked to him that day. So just finding out those little things really makes it worthwhile.
Very good. So for people who are kind of seeing our test here, Brett, again, will be going to a lot of oval racing this winter and kind of capturing the action. He'll be doing some stories that we'll share on snowgoer.com. But also he'll be a recurring guest on Snowgoer Live. And so we'll bring him in for short little segments. And, Brett, you just got back from Eganville. Tell us what happened up there on that last lap when the two sleds went off turn 4 or whatever, So that's kind of the mission of Brett's contributions, and his enthusiasm for the sport. I'm confident will really come through, and will hopefully entertain the oval fans and maybe hook some of the rest of you into the fact that oval racing is pretty dang cool.
Yeah, I've been a firm believer that you have to see it in order to appreciate it. And a lot of people just haven't taken the time to go out and see it and view it. And once you see the extremeness of ice oval racing, it really hooks you. It's pretty addictive.
It's anything related to speed. Well, I'll relate it back to a conversation I was having this weekend when I was at my parents' house, and they're big car racing fans. And my father was talking about the first time he took my mother to the Daytona 500, and they're sitting up in these big bleachers, and they're way the heck up there. And she was amazed by it and how much faster the cars were going than on TV, because on TV it slows everything down. But then he told her, he said, "Okay, go stand right by the fence for a lap." And the cars went by. And it's the same exact thing with snowmobile oval racing. I will be watching the Cool Down TV broadcast that you do, because I do every year since they've been doing it up there, and I love it. But you do somewhat lose a sensation for the speed.
Right.
If you go see one of these oval racing events in person, it is impressive, the speed that they're carrying down the straightaways and into the turns. And it's something you're right, you do almost have to experience firsthand.
Right. And it's also accessible. That's what I don't think people understand. The pit area, sometimes for a nominal fee, is available to spectators. So if you want to go meet these drivers, several of them, and as long as the racing day has been good to them, and by that I mean no mechanical breakdowns, no injuries, they're pretty receptive to you knocking on a door and just saying, "Hi, can I have an autograph? Can I see your sled up close?" And they're usually really good about that. So we need to bring that experience to the fan base, and I think that's where the ice oval world is probably lacking a little bit, is embracing the fan perspective and the fan desire from their event. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do.
Yeah, one thing that Brett's coverage does when he kind of introduces you to these racers is something that I've felt has been missing in recent years in snowmobile oval racing, and sadly, it's when the late great Ted Otto left the sport. So many times after each final, the winning racer would come down and would park next to Ted, have a picture taken with the checkered flag, and then Ted would ask him a couple questions over the PA system. And that's where we really got to know, some of today's heroes. I very specifically remember Blaine Stevenson talking to Ted when he was just in the juniors classes, and now Blaine Stevenson's a 4-time world champion. And so, but so many of the personalities now, you're right, that people see an orange helmet and that was the guy on the black sled, right? But they don't know what the guy looks like, they don't know what he sounds like or his background, and hopefully, definitely through your series, but also through some of our conversations, we'll be able to make these people a little bit more real for fans.
Yep. Hoping this year too with Cool Down TV, we're going to try and do some break-ins during live racing action to just bring fans up to speed with what has happened during a previous race. So if there's been a mechanical breakdown, if there's been an incident where a driver's come off his sled or something, I should be able to get to those people, chat with them quick, hopefully bring them in live, just talk for a brief 30 or 45 seconds about what happened and their ability to get back into the race day. So that would just be a nice filler. I know a lot of times you see something happen and the sled gets towed into the pit area and you never hear from it again. You just don't know what the outcome was. So we're going to try and bridge that gap a little bit this year as well.
Very good. Very good. Well, again, this is a test of the Snowgoer Live TV show, or live webcast, I guess, that we'll be doing starting in mid-December, really get going in earnest in January. It's sponsored by Z1R. We thank them for their sponsorship this year. We got another sponsor that may be joining us very soon. With that, we'll wrap this up. Again, Snowgoer Live, most likely we're going to target Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time is our target. It's going to be somewhat dependent on, frankly, my travel schedule. If I'm on an airplane and flying out to test the new skidoos or something like that, it might get moved to a Wednesday or back to a Friday or something. But the mission is Thursday nights. We'll tell you about the sleds we're riding, the places we're going, where it snowed in the last week. That's the advantage of this show being live, is we'll be able to share, what happened at the races last weekend that Brett went to, and where are they going this coming weekend. And we'll cover snowcross. We'll have people join us talking about drag racing, about really everything. So, Brett, thank you for joining us in this test. And anybody who happens to stumble across this broadcast, make sure to join us again. We'll get it rolling in mid-December, but it becomes formal the first Thursday of January. So thanks again, Brett.
You bet, John. Glad to look forward to the race season. I know there's a lot of excitement out there. So time to fire them up and let's get going.
All right, we'll dump Brett off the screen. And I will remind you one more time that this is Snowgoer Live, sponsored by Z1R helmets, which are available at dealers across the country. Thanks for joining us.